Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to address the court. As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people.
A tearful Jenna Ellis pleading guilty to a felony count in the Fulton County, Georgia RICO case against her. A total of 19 co-defendants, of course, including Donald Trump. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Karen Friedman, Agnifilo. This is big, folks, and it is breaking news. Jenna Ellis, another one of Donald Trump's lawyers, is now pleading guilty. Karen, I want to get your full analysis. How big is this? How it relates to the other guilty pleas that we've seen over the past few weeks. Before getting your legal analysis, I also want to show the moment where Jenna Ellis also pled guilty, in addition to her reading that apology letter that you heard right there. Let's play the other clip.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea, which means the state and your attorneys have reached a recommendation to make to the court?
Yes.
Do you understand that the court is not bound by that recommendation and could sentence you to the maximum penalty for this charge?
Yes.
Do you understand if the court does not follow the state's recommendation, then you can withdraw your guilty plea and move forward with the jury trial?
Yes.
Do you understand that the conditions of this plea involves 5 years of probation, that you pay $5,000 of restitution to the Georgia Secretary of State within 30 days, and it's in my understanding that you're asking to be treated as a first offender?
Yes.
Do you understand that a special conditions of this probation is that you complete 100 hours of community service, that you write an apology letter to the citizens of the state of Georgia, which you have already done, and the state will put that into evidence as State's Exhibit 1 for the court? That you testify truthfully at all hearings or trials involving co-defendants, that you have no communication with co-defendants, witnesses, or the media until all cases have been closed.
Yes.
That you must continue to provide additional recorded statements and affidavits to the state as required, that you must also continue to provide any requested documents or evidence subject to any lawful privileges asserted in good faith, that you shall not post anything on social media, including through any agents, about this case until the conclusion of all trials and appeals, that you must continue to fully cooperate with prosecutors, included but not limited to participating in interviews with prosecutors, appearing for evidentiary hearings, and assisting in pretrial matters. Do you understand that these are the conditions of the recommendation that the state is making to the court?
I do.
It is my understanding that, have you gone over the first offender status with your attorneys?
I have.
So there you have it, Karen Friedman, Agnifilo. We wake up yet again today to more news that one of Donald Trump's co-defendants has pled guilty. How big is that? Can you explain to us the import of what just went down with Jenna Ellis's guilty plea?
Yeah, so this is a really big deal. This is defendant number 4 who has now agreed to cooperate with Fani Willis and testify against Trump and clearly Giuliani, because that's a lot of this allocution centered around Rudy Giuliani by name. They actually mentioned him several times. And so what Fani Willis is doing behind the scenes is she is trying to pare this down so that she can only have one trial, right? You don't want to have more than one trial if possible. You want to have one case where your witnesses only have to testify once, and we're down to 15. That's still kind of big. So she's trying to pare this down to a more manageable size and really just focus on the main actors here, like Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, et cetera. And by going after Jenna Ellis and getting her to cooperate and getting her on Fani Willis's side, what she's doing is she's completely eviscerating Donald Trump's advice of counsel defense. He has said he's going to say, oh, I relied on my attorneys. I absolutely, that they told me I could do this. And so I should have a pass, basically, because they're the ones who made a mistake and advised me inappropriately. But what she has admitted to and what she allocated to, so the allocution is her words, the things she has to admit to on the record as part of a plea. Allocutions can be very brief or they can be very detailed. And this one's very detailed. And the reason a prosecutor asks for a detailed allocution is to make sure that these are the facts at a minimum that she's going to testify to when she cooperates and she testified. So the facts here that she had to admit to that were false statements, that she aided and abetted false statements, that's the crime she pled guilty to, was that she and Giuliani, as Trump's lawyers, appeared before the Georgia Senate with Giuliani and others and said the following lies: that, number one, 96,000 mail-in ballots were erroneously canceled. Number two, that 2,506 felons voted illegally when there's no evidence of that. Number three, that 66,248 underaged people voted before the age of 17. Again, no evidence of that. That 2,423 people voted who were not registered. I mean, these are very specific numbers. This isn't like, oh, I think around 3,000 people did this. No, these are specific lies. 2,423 people voted who were not registered. So they came up with these specific lies and really tried to push them. Number five, that 1,043 people voted who had illegally registered using P.O. boxes. Again, a lie, no evidence of that. And that 10,315 dead people voted. And again, a lie. I mean, so these are just the lies that she had to admit, we're told. But the way she said it and the way she said in her brief statement is interesting, because she's not saying, yeah, we sat there and made up these lies. What she said was, I'm a Christian, I'm a lawyer, cried, tearful apology. She said, I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability, and I relied on lawyers with many more experience. My role was mostly the media. I should have made sure the facts were true, but there was a phonetic pace of things during this time, and I failed to do my due diligence. If I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't do it. What she's saying there is, I relied on Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, the guy who was the United States attorney for the Southern District of New York. I mean, he's got a resume, right? I relied on him and the former president of the United States. And so she says, as a lawyer, I just thought, you know what, these are big, important people, and this is what they said, so I relied on them. And now I was misled. I was reckless. I was, she said there was a reckless disregard for the truth as opposed to a deliberate lie. And that is important because she's going to be a cooperator, right? It's one thing to have a cooperator who says, yes, I lied. And then when they get cross-examined, it's like, okay, well, you lied then. How do we know you're not lying now? It's very powerful cross-examination. Here she's saying, I just didn't do my own due diligence. I didn't check. It was a reckless disregard for the truth. So I was reckless, but I didn't lie. And so I'm not a liar. I'm not lying now. So it's just these little things that she's being set up to be a cooperating witness. She's going to testify. She's going to cry and say, I didn't mean it. And so I think it's just huge for Fani Willis. I mean, not only does she have yet another insider who's going to testify on her behalf for her case, it's somebody who eviscerates, yet again, just like Ken Chesebro, just like Sidney Powell, the other two lawyers, they're all going to eviscerate the advice of counsel defense. Because why? You have to give truthful facts. In order to avail yourself of that, You have to give material and truthful material facts to the best of your ability to your lawyer, who then has to, in good faith, advise you to the best of their ability. And what she's saying is, I didn't get the right facts. I didn't get truthful facts. So he's just in much more trouble again, and it will continue to, as Fani Willis keeps having more and more people cooperate.
You know, I still reflect on that moment with her sitting next to Rudy Giuliani and the absurdity of it all, you know, as the kind of hair dye is dripping off of his face and he's saying these outrageous things. And there's an instance, and I don't say this to mock or troll, it just happened where he farts on her during a hearing. And I just remembered watching it and I was like, where are we living? What is going on here? Let me show you while they're sitting in a fake hearing. They come up with this fake hearing where they're going to be challenging the results of the election. You got Giuliani saying all of these lies. You got Jenna Ellis saying all of these lies. And then he farts on her while the thing's dripping down his face. Here, play this clip.
The answer,
have a point of order?
The answer that I gave you is they didn't bother to interview a single witness. Just like you, they don't want to know the truth. Well, you probably know the truth.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And then she starts posting things like, a word on this debate over whether conservative women are hotter. The answer is definitely yes, but not for the reason you think. It's because conservative women value our femininity and our immutable differences. You know, she was loving this, though, Karen. She was loving the attention. She was loving the spotlight. She was loving whatever it is that you just saw there. She craved this attention in real time. We were calling it out. I think she blocked MeidasTouch and she blocked me from her Twitter account then. But, you know, she wanted the limelight, you know, and look, as lawyers, as members of the bar, you know, we have to take responsibility for our actions, who we associate with, and how we carry ourselves. And it was one of the things that I was always calling her out upon. And let's also reflect on the fact that Jenna Ellis, it was a few months ago, within the past year or so, though, where she entered into that stipulation with the Colorado State Bar, where she also admitted to being censured and admitted to the lies. And that's why all of this stuff is important, because it all adds up. She admitted to the series of lies, which Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis can use. And now Fani Willis has lined up 4 states' witnesses against Donald Trump and the other co-defendants. And I wouldn't be shocked if in the next few hours, or even, you know, later this week, of course, we see more individuals who plead guilty. Karen, I want to thank you so much for your insight and analysis here. Any final words you want to say before we go?
You know, I agree with you. She was loving this limelight, and I don't know if the fact that Trump stopped paying her legal fees and the bills started adding up, if that was the motivating factor, why she ultimately has walked away from that. But for whatever reason, she has, and I think we're going to start seeing many other of the lower level people to do exactly the same thing.
Masterful prosecutorial work here by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Special hat tip there. We will keep you posted as we learn more here on the MeidasTouch Network. Ben Meiselas, Karen Friedman, Agnifilo from Legal AF. We will be back with more breaking news. Hit subscribe. We are on our way to 2 million subscribers, and make sure you're subscribed to the Legal AF audio podcast. Have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.